they have the 5-year plan. We're going to rebuild for 5 years. And then GM's like, oh, no, sorry, something went wrong. So we're going to do it again. It's just amazing to me. The Rockies make no changes.
We've got Rockies beat writer Patrick Saunders from the Denver Post joining us right now. You can follow him at PSaundersDP. And Patrick, great to have you on. We're going to jump right into our fancy.
No, hold on, real quick before he goes.
What?
He has his Hall of Fame hat on. Did he vote for Ichiro? Did you vote for Ichiro?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Did you make it all public?
Clear.
We're watching. We're watching.
There you go. Did you make your ballot public, Patrick?
You know what? And this is the God's honest truth, guys. I screwed up. I meant to. And the guys at the Hall of Fame calling back, I actually forgot to sign my ballot. It was stupid. I was in the middle of having the flu. Hall of Fame got back to me and made some corrections, but I forgot to tell them to make my ballot public. So, but yes, I did vote for Ichiro.
Boom. There you go. Okay.
Maybe because he didn't sign it, didn't count. So that was the one. We've been doing this all wrong. He's the one. Like, it was him. It was him.
No, this was
like
his
the
flu
kid's
game.
homework.
He was like, it was his flu game. He was checking the boxes like,
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing, but I need to make sure Ichiro's on there. All right, let's go over a snoozy team, the Colorado Rockies. Storylines time. I mean, I really want the Rockies to be good. What are we doing here? Are they too complacent? We're going to start there. Then we'll go over the prospects because they're a really good one. Charlie Condon, who many thought would be the number 1 pick in last year's draft, ended up falling 3 to the Rockies, could be a star. Chase Dollander could be a number 1 starting pitcher for this team. What about a bounce back season for Nolan Jones? He was really good in 2023. And then the Rockies finished 19 games back of 4th place. Here we go. Let's start at the top, Patrick. Complacency. Why? What are they saying? Do they care?
They say they care. Okay. I did a big piece for the Denver Post at the end of the 2023 season. And it was like a 4-part series that we did, and it was called The Rocky Way. And what I did was investigate what exactly they're trying to do and what is the perception outside 20th and Blake about this team. And the perception, and not surprising to you guys, I'm sure, is that this organization is far too insular. They keep repeating the same thing over and over. They don't look for outside interests. They tend to think that nobody else can figure it out because they play at the most challenging venue in baseball because of the altitude of Coors. And they're afraid to shake things up. And a lot of that goes to the ownership under Dick Monfort. He has told me through the years he's loyal to a fault. At some point, my opinion, I don't think Dick is ever going to give up ownership of the team because 2 of his sons are in the organization. They need to go outside the organization, get a president who sees things differently, is not afraid to rock the boat, and will shake things up a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to clean house completely, but there is a complacency with the Rockies. And yes, they still draw 32,000 fans a game at Coors Field every night, but I know the fan base talks to me all the time, and the complacency out there for this team is real. There's no doubt about it.
There's complacency now. In the meantime, can Charlie Condon and Chase Dollander be guys that develop enough this season that they're making an impact in the big leagues this year?
Not Condon. I mean, he struggled last year, right? I mean, he was at High Spokane, and he had a couple nice moments, but he struggled. He's not even close to Ray Dollander, however. It's on the record from both Bud Black, the manager, and Bill Schmidt, the GM. Dollander is going to be giving a legitimate chance to break with the starting rotation this spring, which kind of goes against the Rockies' usual MO. They are usually very reluctant to push guys that quickly, but Dollander last year made it up to Double-A, put up some really good numbers for Hartford. He's the real deal. And the Rockies have said if he earns the job in spring training, they're willing to put him in the rotation and maybe move one of the veterans to the bullpen. Now, despite everything I said leading off here, guys, I think the depth and the what's the word I'm looking for? The possibilities of the Rockies rotation, if not this year, then moving forward into next year, it has a chance to be one of the better rotations the Rockies have had probably since all the way back to 2018. Yeah, that's if the young guys come through.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good that Dolander and Condren, I mean, they brought the SEC guys in. That's how it works. You want to win, you bring the SEC guys in. Okay, Patrick? Speaking of, I've been saying for years, what you said at the beginning, the Rockies got to do something crazy. They need a Joe Madden, not Joe Madden, but a Joe Madden style guy to come in there and just do what he did with the Rays. Just try anything. Try crazy stuff. Like, see what happens. Like, you never know. Something might work in Coors. Have fly ball pitchers and go back to the 95 Blake Street Bashers. I mean, that's to me, that's how you win there. You have these guys, you figure out ground ball pitching, and you have dudes that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. But anyway, speaking of a guy that needs to bounce back, Nolan Jones. He struggled last year. He had a rough 2024. 2023, he was great. Which Nolan Jones are we going to see for the 2025 season?
Well, I'm hopeful because I'm very fond of the guy, and I know the Rockies are super hopeful that he can repeat 2023. Everybody I've talked to, including Nolan, has said that between injuries last year, he had mostly a back injury, but then also he twisted his knee. That was part of the problem. The other problem is Nolan is one of those players who tends to put way too much pressure on himself. And he came out and said he wanted to do better than he did in 2023. He started to internalize it too much. He had his first child. He and his wife had their first child. Child had some complications at birth. Everything worked out okay. But all of that mixed together really messed with Nolan's head. And I think he'd be the first one to tell you that he's got the skill set and the tools, but he's got to find a way to regain his confidence, not be so hard on himself, and learn to enjoy the game again. And I'll be interested to see if he can do that because last year was a mess.
How are they going to enjoy the games when last year they were 19 games back of fourth place? And not only did they not get better, the rest of the division maybe got better than any division in all of baseball, not just talking about the Dodgers. What are the chances? What's the even outlook in the sense of, like, you talk about Nolan Jones needing to be positive, the whole team about winning?
No, there's no question, right? I mean, the Dodgers, we know, everybody knows about what the Dodgers have done after winning the World Series. The D-backs, to me, have a very talented lineup. The Giants are kind of trending upward. I still can't figure out the Padres. It's almost like they had their shot at the Golden Goose and kind of missed it. But, yeah, that's the thing. And the Rockies, back-to-back 100-loss seasons, for them to get out of the cellar would be, I'm not going to say impossible, but unlikely. What they're banking on, they won't say rebuild, but what they're banking on is a young core of starting pitching coming up, some good young players in the system or already on the team. And I think if you had a heart-to-heart on the record with Bill Schmidt, the GM, he would say, it's not going to be 2025. If we're going to pop, and for the Rockies, popping would be 500 and maybe eking their way into the playoff scene. 2026 seems more likely, but I can't see him crawling out of the basement. And the other guy we haven't even talked about, guys, is Chris Bryant, right? The highest paid player on the team, who right now is penciled as their DH and an occasional right fielder. You know, if Chris Bryant doesn't step up this year, this season, it would not shock me that they might just eat the money and release him. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I've talked to Chris this winter. He says he's finally in a good place health-wise, but they can't afford to pay somebody $27 million, keep putting them on the field when they have young guys knocking on the door wanting to get their chance.
Wow. I mean, I love this line because the Rockies, they have the 5-year plan. We're going to rebuild for 5 years, and then GM's like, oh, no, sorry, something went wrong, so we're going to do it again. It's just amazing to me. The Rockies make no changes. It's the same story over and over and over again. And it starts at the top, and we'll see what happens. But, man, are they in a tough spot? Because the Dodgers ain't going away. The Diamondbacks don't look like they're going away anytime soon. The Padres, once they get their ownership, is going to try to figure it out again, right? The Giants always are trying to figure it out. Now they have Buster Posey. They've changed their philosophy. They went one way. Now they're back to the way they were when they won. And then you have the Rockies. It's just a bad spot for them to be in. Like you said, you mentioned Chris Bryant. We don't even talk about Chris Bryant because he hasn't played. So
Right.
Chris Bryant I mean, that's the point why we don't talk about him, because he's never on the field. He doesn't play enough to where you're like, man, Chris Bryant's doing what he did when he was MVP and all that stuff. It's just not there anymore. It sucks.
Yeah. Two guys you guys did not bring up, and I think it's worthy of mention. They have two legitimate, really potential perennial all-stars, and that's Brendan Doyle in center field, two-time Gold Glove winner. If he ups his power a little bit, his average a little bit, he's an all-star. I think he's the best fielding center fielder, best fielding outfielder in all of baseball. Doesn't get much love because few people see the Rockies, but he is sensational. Probably the best fielding outfielder in Rockies history. And then their shortstop, Ezekiel Tovar, he won a Gold Glove last year in his second year. Way too high strikeout rate, but he is a special player. He's already locked up until I think it's 2030, if I'm not mistaken. Those are two guys. They're the linchpins for this team. If it's going to improve going forward, they're the two guys that they're going to build around.
All right. I hope that they keep those guys for a while and then build on it and give us some hope, because the way that I'm talking right now is about the way that I feel about the product on the field. But as we always say, Patrick,
try cover him every day. Gets a little tedious. Let me say.
At least they're nice. They're super
they are
nice.
They draw $2.5
respect
million
it.
every year. They draw
love
between
that park.
$2.5 and $3 million.
Yeah. I love that park
And they have
too,
the-
Patrick. But when we
and
keep
they have the
talking about
Christmas
how
tree
much
farm.
we love, what do we have?
They have the Christmas tree farm in center field with the little. If you ever go out there, they have like a little waterfall. It's very
Beautiful.
zen.
It's
It's very nice.
It's nice.
And they invented Blue Moon there. Let's not forget, Blue Moon was invented
true.
there too.
That's nice.
It's nice.
I
It's the perfect
I sense
place
a
to
little
take your friends.
sarcasm here, guys. I'm not sure if I'm
Yeah.
right, but I sense a little sarcasm.
We actually do
No.
love the ballpark experience.
I love the
but
park,
We talk
yeah.
way
I know.
too much about loving the ballpark experience and wanting to take your friends that don't really care about baseball, because you're going to be like, hey, if you're actually trying to get into a team, this is not the one. But if you want to get into a ballpark experience and just chat the entire time, barely look at the field and what's actually happening, or watch the opposition, this spot is for you. So there it is, Patrick. A lot of respect for what you do. Love following your work, and better times ahead. It can't get much worse.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.